Welcome to the Success with People livecast, where we will deal with the issue of conflict prevention. So, we will allow 30 seconds or so for you to shift from whatever you were engaged with, put away all this stuff, and plan to be with us for the next 30 to 35 minutes as we explore the issue of conflict prevention. We'll allow another couple seconds for all our streaming partners to open up their doors. So, right, today we explore the art of conflict prevention. I am Trevor E.S. Smith, and I'm with the Success with People Academy, and I will be your guide as we explore paths to harmonious teams, high performing teams would be the goal. And conflict is a major factor in impeding progress, impeding productivity. I don't know where you are on this issue of conflict. I hope that today you are with me in the sense of why don't I have agency about a matter that is recurring? It's a constant in our team. Why do I have no agency? Why am I being told that conflict is inevitable and I must just accept it? Come on, Trevor. Don't you understand that conflict is inevitable? Yeah, so what am I to do? Am I to just allow it to happen? Say, oh, here's another conflict. Okay, it's inevitable. No, I hope that today I can stimulate someone here to say, no, I must have some agency around this. I must be able to do something about it. Can conflict be prevented? That's a question. And so I know that there are many conflicts out there, and the conflicts are really challenging, but we can, in fact, anticipate some of them and take action to prevent them. So today, in this next 30, 32, 33 minutes, we're not keeping you long, as usual in these Success with People live class. We get to the point, give you powerful insights, charge you to take action, and leave you to act. So we want to reveal powerful strategies and insights that will foster a more harmonious team dynamics. That's why we are here. All right. So conflicts, let us make no mistake about it, can be stumbling blocks as we seek to develop and create high performing teams. Drain your energy and you feel, oh my gosh, um, you know, not again, not again. Sometimes we are involved, we are active participants in the process, but sometimes we are just observing. Oh, there they go again, there they go again. Okay, so let us look at our watches. Let us see how much time in this meeting is going to be lost as they go head to head. Yeah, that's a reality. So, well, what if? What if we looked at conflict from a different perspective? Hmm? What if many of these debilitating conflicts could be prevented in the first place? This is not a dream. It's not a Photoshop image. This is real. So, how do we go about it, though? The whole perspective is that what we need to do is to look at the triggers. Triggers are critical. Anytime we want to deal with human behavior, we need to look at triggers. If we're looking at changing bad habits, triggers. There is a triggering event, a triggering situation that produces the behavior. Yes? And so, if we, just the same way, used it last week, that if we have our clothes hung out on a line and we see threatening clouds, we know it's time to pick them up. Triggers. Triggers are important for us to navigate through life. And so the key then is to be able to identify situations where we know that there's a likelihood of behavioral conflict. And one of the ways to do that is to understand behavioral styles. If we have a fundamental, a foundational, strong understanding of behavioral styles, we can proactively prevent a lot of conflicts. Harmonious coexistence in your team is within the realm of possibility. Trust me, watch me for the next couple of minutes. Okay? All right. So you need to provide. Going into battle, you need to provide, have an arsenal. And so we want to give you the tools to help you to prevent more conflicts and do so effectively. All right. So what it is at our foundation is we look at behavioral styles because that's where the conflicts come from. It is a difference in how we perceive each other, how we view incoming information, how we want to send out information. All of these factors matter. And so there is a classification that we use, yes, to see how people perceive life's unfolding events and how they respond to it. And just the same way that, as in grammar, we identify verbs and nouns and adjectives and pronouns, we have classifications. It's the same way that Carl Jung says we can bring classification to help us to relate to each other. And Jung says that we can classify how people behave and respond to life's unfolding events. We can classify that into four groups. Sorry, I like to think of it as four bags of tools. So we have four massive bags of behaviors, all sorts of nuances within each bag. But those bags are there. For example, with extended disc, we identify 160 unique behavioral styles within, so 40 styles within each bag. So their bags are huge, but we can understand them. At the end of the day, though, there are some common factors that pull the four bags together. And we talk about dominance, driven, decisive, want to take charge. There is inducement or influence, where there's a creativity and the contact with others and putting a smiley face on life. Great deal of creativity. There's steadiness. This is the milk of human kindness, the cooperation, the love, the harmony, but also the capacity to make sure that steadfastness is there. And then there's conscientiousness, which is the C style, which is structure, system, making sure that things work. But there is also accountability. So those are four basic bags of tools that we can use. And if we get deeper, as we do when we work with teams, is to teach them the language of behavior so they understand the nuances within each one of these toolkits. And that is where the rubber meets the road. That's how we can actually deal with, anticipate conflicts, some of the conflicts that are driven. And in my humble 2 decade or 3 decade experience, it's really more three, right? 3 decade experience working with people and working with behaviors and teams, a fundamental understanding of behavioral styles and a willingness to use that knowledge is the key to unlocking, preventing a lot of conflicts. And we will show you, I'll give you a couple of case studies today as to how that works. All right. So we have developed this body of knowledge. We call it discerning model of communication and leadership. It's based on the DISC framework, as we said, dominance, influence, steadiness, conscientiousness. But we have a lot of content around it as to how you apply it in negotiation, how you apply it in customer service, in conflict resolution, conflict management, all of that. So what it does, though, it helps us to understand ourselves and others at a deeper level. Those little nuances that we normally would miss without that information is there. And of course, usually as we find when we work with strangers, if we go to a strange place, we kind of, suspicion is not the right word, which is why I have it in quotes. But there's I'm not sure yet, I'm not sure how to relate to you. I'm kind of feeling it out. That's part of what's happening in our teams, in that people with different behavioral styles don't quite know how to get their arms around their colleagues. They don't feel as sure exactly as to how to give information, how to receive information, how to give feedback, how to just greet and meet. And so that is what the discerning model of communication and leadership does. It provides you with clear answers as to how do you identify behavioral styles of someone who's communicating with you, and how do you respond appropriately. So, of course, we also support the process with behavioral DNA assessments from Extended Disk on the Revolutionary Things platform. So when we put up our team maps, for example, people immediately understand, so that is why I have a problem with Janice. And I can see why Trevor and John are always at it. It gives you a sense of where people are and how best to relate to them. All right, so let's get into this. Now, big thing. I want to put before you a conflict prevention framework. Yes, let's get brave. Let's take agency. We can prevent some. Conflict is inevitable. Yeah, okay, but conflict is also preventable. Let's drill ourselves into that. So here are 4 steps in our conflict prevention framework. One of them, first one, is to be aware of current and emerging challenges. We get the hurricane warnings. There are signs, there are things that says, given how the weather pattern is, we are likely to have inclement weather. That's basically what it is. You want to equip people with the internal technology to be able to understand that this is a storm brewing right here, and to prevent it. Give you a case in a minute. The other thing would be, to get to the root cause. It's, oh no, this is happening, and like a recurring decimal. What is at the root of this ongoing conflict? We need to be able to get that, because that is how healing will take place. That's how we start to move to harmony and to have high productivity. The other one would be, we have to give ground. We have to give ground. So we need to flex, as we call it, adjust our behavioral preferences in order to get the benefits of a conflict-free, harmonious environment. Yeah, we have to make some adjustments. We'll show you that in a minute as well. And then the final step is to learn and grow. So this conflict took place. What can we take from it? Can we use it as a learning experience and to see how we can prevent similar ones from happening in the future? So that's the framework. Awareness. What's coming? Is there a storm brewing? And how can we head it off? Get to the root cause of those recurring ones that's taking place all the time. Seek common ground. We have to give ground. We cannot get 100% of what we want. We have to make adjustments. And can we learn? Can we learn from our experiences? Those are the 4 steps in our conflict prevention framework. Let's look at some case studies quickly. There's performance review. So there's that big meeting as usual. It's a quarterly meeting where we want to look at where we are. So everybody has to defend their fiefdom. So revenues are not up. Yeah, the graph is going in the wrong direction. Well, from my little perch, I can't imagine that my friend, sales manager, Don, is going to come to the meeting to say, colleagues, I must tell you that I'm really very sorry that our team has let you down. And we take full responsibility for the fact that our revenues are below. Come on, Don, not the Don that I know. We know that he's coming into the meeting looking for scapegoats. And again, from my little perch, I figure that Don is going to point to the inventory manager. Hmm. I'm sorry, Brenda. You are up for it. So this is it. He's going to say, what can I do? I mean, if we look at it, look how many items are out of stock. Yeah. So that's why we're not making the target. And so what we need to do is to look at our inventory management processes. Leadership needs to deal with that. That's done as we know it. So listen to me. Is inventory manager Brenda going to sit back and say, hey, no, why are we out of stock? Everybody knows war in Ukraine, whatever it is, everybody knows about the shipping problems. We have things on order from 9 months, we haven't got it yet. What? I'm gonna look to scapegoats as well. This meeting is a disaster waiting to happen. We know. So you can identify with this. Maybe we change the dynamic, the words and the whatever it is, the scenario. But we know we see this happening all the time. I've been in so many of these meetings. but but here comes conflict resolution in a display of social intelligence, sage leadership. Um, our CEO steps up and says, all right, fine. Here we go. Let me take charge of this meeting. I know Dan, and I know, I can see where this is going. So let me just lay out things before. I'm going to take charge of this meeting. I'm going to put up some slides that identifies all of the things. Yeah, we hear you. There were inventory, stockouts. Yeah, we know about the logistics problem. Yeah, we have all of that behind us. However, we need to go forward. So from now on, in this meeting, I only want to hear contributions that deal with the way forward. I'm not going back. I don't want to hear any more about the problems of the past unless they're appending to a solution. And so, for example, is one area in which it's so obvious that a lot of energy was about to be expended on a frustrating, conflict episode. But because of the awareness of the CEO, it was nipped in the bud. How many meetings have you been to in which the conflicts have been diverted the attention away from what it is that you really need to do? All right. So that's one, right? So that's a prevented conflict, right? Okay. All right, let's just look at another one. And the whole question there, basically, it is the willingness, that's the framework, the willingness to look at the root causes. So we have a situation in a diverse team that they're at each other's throats constantly. Every meeting, there is some cross talk and some problems. I have seen this in so many of my team meeting, team development interventions, where you see it, and you're thinking about two persons there, that as one says something, the other one responds. Whoa, it's like ping pong. And so root causes really can come from many things. It could be competing interests, past hurts. I don't know. They are amazing, the amount of things that people can find to ground that disagreement around. One instance I talked about these two persons that I was thinking here, that the gentleman came into the room and said good morning, and this lady didn't respond while others did, and that was the basis of a major conflict because she doesn't have any manners and she's thinking he is too arrogant. Whoa. All right. So any number can play in terms of finding some basis for disagreement. But the most common root cause for me is a failure to understand behavioral styles. We know that we have unique preferences for how we want to give and receive information, how we want to interact with others, how close we want to get to people. All of these factors are there. But if we are able to recognize these styles, we can tailor our messages to match the recipients, whoever it is we're talking to. We can adjust our behavior. We can flex our style, is what I would say. So social intelligent team and intentional, sorry, team members can apply their understanding of behavioral styles to reduce misunderstandings. Give me the information in a way that will land with me. Give me my feedback in a manner that I will receive it. Give me my instructions in a way that I understand it and I'm able to implement. That's the key, is to have that clarity. So we need to tailor our communication. And I just make it clear, I love this image. Tailoring your approach, your communication, your interaction is not about changing who you are. That's it. So when people come to some of these sessions by, work with teams, is a feeling as if, are you asking me to make myself over? This is who I am. I'm not asking that. I'm just saying tailor your approach to deal with the situation that is appropriate right there now. So tailor your message to your audience, man. Tailor your message to your audience. And what it means, though, is that if we're working in diverse teams, and believe you me, all the teams have nuances in terms of their behavior. So we need to be flexible, right? Shifting the communication style according to who is involved. And mastering that skill, really and truly, is the basis of fostering an environment in which we can prevent conflicts. Believe me, prevent conflicts. And that's going to improve our team dynamics and our profitability and productivity. All right, let us look at another case study. So here it is, project scope. So we have this project and two team members are challenged. We can anticipate that. We see it as a project management manager. We see our D-style colleague who really want to look at pace, look at, bam, 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 deliverables, make it happen now. Or C-style individuals are saying, hey, hold on, the devil is in the details. Let us make sure that we go through in a much more detailed way and lay out step by step what is happening. Yeah. And so in terms of putting that project together, there could be conflict. And that kind of conflict is going to run for as long as the project is in place. And so it is critical then that the team project manager applies our conflict prevention framework so that he can convert dysfunction into common ground. So that's basically the idea. Right? So what did the project manager do? Basically, having seen the potential, again, foresight, prevention is better than cure. He took steps. He says, all right, guys, come together. Hey, let me hear what are your issues, right? Let me listen to both sides. Let me have a meeting of the whole project team now, where we actually look at what it is that you, B-style, want to focus on, which is the big picture, the goals, and motivating our people to get there. Bam, bam, bam. Let us also understand where your C-style colleague is coming from, where they are saying that, yes, I hear you, but if we do not have these milestones, if we do not have these checkpoints along the way, we are likely to miss our targets. So we hear that. And then project manager says, all right, guys, tell you what, I'm assigning you guys, I'm charging you to go and put your heads together and come up with a plan. Come up with a plan. Find common ground and let's just come up with a plan. And so what that does then is that it brings all the potentially contending forces to a place where at least they can understand themselves. And there's always has to be some kind of give and take. So that's the key, though. Where we're not now running a project where there is forever this tension. That's that's where we want to go. And then the fourth step in our conflict prevention framework is to learn and grow. Yeah. So we want to encourage our team members to look every time. Don't just come back again to say, conflict is inevitable. What do you expect forever? Conflict is inevitable. No, I want you to look at every single conflict and to see what lessons we can learn from it. How did this impact us? What was the root cause? Hmm? How could we have prevented it? How can we prevent similar ones from occurring in the future? And so, if we equip and encourage team members to develop this ability, yeah, to anticipate and to prevent, I don't want us to focus on resolving. A lot of money is being spent on conflict resolution when a fraction could be spent on preventing some of the conflicts that we are going to resolve. So I'm just suggesting that we maintain these open lines of communication. Look at issues that are about to arise. Raise your hand. I see a problem coming. I see a storm coming in this issue that we are about to face. Let's deal with it upfront. And, and have, again, you need to have a safe space. You need to have open conversation where people feel that they can come and fear openly without being um, punished in any way or ostracized. So we need to have that as well. We need to create safe environments. Otherwise, conflict will be inevitable. All right. So that's the bottom line. We're saying that by applying our conflict prevention framework, we provide your team with a structured approach to handling conflict. That's it. It's a structure, it's a system, it's a framework. It's like a skeleton of your body, holds it together. It's a structure. And so, in that environment, right, there is going to be open communication, empathy, collaboration, and genuinely an awareness as to how people want to receive information, how they want to receive feedback, how they want to give information and to give feedback, how they want to interact with each other. Yes. And if we practice that, wholesome practice leads to perfection, your team will also get to a place where you see a dramatic reduction in conflicts. A lot of those recurrent conflicts no longer appear. So I'm suggesting to you that you take action. Our high performing team interventions actually equip teams with this, what we call the language of behaviors, which basically means that they understand behavioral styles. They go into the four massive toolkits of behaviors and understand the nuances. They understand that when Don is really, emphatic, it's just a style, really. It doesn't necessarily mean that Don knows anything more about the subject or that Don is really upset or anything. It's just his style, of coming across. Yes. When Susan steps back and is not ready to, be upfront, dominate meetings, etc. It doesn't mean that Susan doesn't have great ideas. It's just that she prefers to sort of wait, see what's happening. That's part of her style. Yeah. And that's why if I'm facilitating the meeting, I need to create a safe space to pull Susan out because I want to hear what she has to say. But she's not necessarily going to be the first to put up the hand. Yeah. So while we might think that Ivan is really, clowning around, no. Ivan wants to put a pretty face on life and so on, and really doesn't like, conflict and a lot of us. But do not underestimate Ivan's creativity and his willingness to come up with ideas to motivate the team, to get the team to go where they want to go. And yeah, you get frustrated with call, not another question call, but cars without a brake are going to run into cut into an accident. That's what we need. Some of that grounding, some of that call back to say, hold on, guys, have you considered this? And so that's part of what we want to do when we look at creating high performing team. Those dynamics, what it is that members are bringing to the table or need to bring to the table. You know, I'm working now with a lot of lopsided teams where, you know, I don't see a lot of the right side innovation, creativity, change management. And so people are going to have problems in this highly disruptive, fast changing environment. Those teams are problematic because it's stuck with a lot of individuals who are C style, S style, so they can maintain the status quo, but what's going to happen to them going forward? So I would suggest let's have a discussion about what's happening in your team. No holes, no commitment. Just let us have a talk about how we can enhance productivity, peace, and harmony in your team. Right? So send me an email, info@successwithpeople.org, or you can just go straight, send me a WhatsApp message at 876-535-6677. By the way, these live casts are on our YouTube channel, YouTube, and it's at Extended Disk Solutions. At Extended Disk Solutions on YouTube, you can see a whole series of these live casts. And who are we? Basically, we are the Success with People Academy, and we are SHRM recertification providers. What that means is that when we give out professional development credits, they can be applied for individuals who want to recertify their SHRM CP or SCP certifications. And we deploy our discerning model of communication and leadership and our conflict resolution, conflict prevention, conflict prevention framework to enhance team performance, individual performance, and the entire organization. And of course, we franchise holders for the provision of granular behavioral DNA assessments from Extended This on the Revolutionary Things platform. Again, hi, Trevor Smith. See you next week. In the meantime, let's have a conversation. info@successwithpeople.org or 876-535-6677 on WhatsApp. Thank you for your time.